everything has its challenges, and being a kid is no different. For instance, we don't know what kind of person we're going to be. We don't know if our interests are going to last. We probably don't know how to start a business, and well, don't even get me started on those chores. Okay, so maybe not everything about being a kid is all that difficult, but there is definitely a pressure for younger generations to be the future of society, to create change that will benefit future generations, and to maintain all the amazing parts about today. And that pressure can be very overwhelming, so much so that I've always grown up with the mindset that I need to have a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan. And there's nothing wrong with that, except when it comes to a point where I and those with a similar age to me have the mindset that we are always focused on the future, that we forget to live in the present. Hi, my name is Danielle Delgado, and I am a 17-year-old entrepreneur. And I want to tell you a little story about how I've been learning to live a little more in the present. It started about 5 years ago when I was 12, and I built my first 3D printer. I fell in love with that kind of technology, and I wanted to share it with anyone and everyone who would listen. But rather than bore my friends and family for 30+ minutes, I decided to create a business to do exactly that. Except, I didn't know how to start a business. And I had many great ideas in the past, well, at least I thought they were great ideas, that I wanted to pursue. For instance, in the 3rd grade, I had this fantastic idea for a type of paper that you would put over a wound, and after a little bit, you would take it off and it'd be completely healed. Apparently, 3rd grade myself, forgot that Band-Aids existed. But think back to a time when you were that age. You probably had an idea that you thought could revolutionize the world, and you probably didn't pursue it. Why? Well, questions like, I'm too young, I don't know how to start a business, plagued my mind, but something was different about this idea. Maybe it was my passion for 3D printers, I don't know. But thankfully, I set aside those questions and decided to create 3D Printing Girls, a company where I designed and sold 3D printed jewelry to my friends, my family, and frankly, anyone who would buy it. 3D Printing Girls wasn't created to make a lot of profit or become a Fortune 500 company because, spoiler alert, it didn't. 3D Printing Girls was created to share my passion and to hopefully inspire young girls like myself to pursue a career in STEM. But like I said, I had no idea how to start a business, so I did what anyone else my age would do, and I took to the internet. And I was faced with 2 types of articles. The first made me so inspired because I read the stories of countless business women and men before me who had a simple idea and turned it into millions upon billions of dollars. Who wouldn't want to be like that? Well, the second type of article definitely wasn't as optimistic because it made me face statistic upon statistic, telling me that my chances of succeeding were very low. And those stories that I read about earlier, well, they're part of a very small minority, and none of them started when they were 12. Now, I want to tell you that at the age of 12, I was of the mindset that success is relative and it's what you make of it. But I was 12. 5 years later, at 17, I'm still not of that mindset. I don't think I'm ever going to be of that mindset. No, I continued and pursued 3D Printing Girls because I'm stubborn. But thankfully, I'm stubborn because I created my company. But that's not to say that a nasty little seed of doubt in my mind has plagued my worries every single day. Nevertheless, I continued and decided to tackle my next challenge, getting investors. But at 12 years old, I didn't know who to go to. I had no credit score, no credibility, not even a cool pantsuit like I'm wearing now. So I decided to go to one person who I knew would at least listen, my mom. My mom is the best mom in the entire world, hands down. But getting up the courage to ask her, hi Mom, to ask her to invest in my idea was pretty nerve-wracking because it'd be pretty hard to become my own boss if the boss said no. And the answer she gave me was neither a no, but it wasn't a yes. It was a maybe. She told me that one day of research wasn't enough, go figure, and that I needed to come back in a couple weeks with all the information about what I needed, how much it cost, how much time I was going to invest in it, and so on. But by the tone of her voice, I pretty much knew that she was trying to send me on a wild goose chase, hoping that I'd forget the idea like all the other ones and hopefully return back to YouTube or TV or whatever I was interested in at the time. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty stubborn. So a few weeks go by and I come back to her and I give her all that information. But I wasn't allowed to start because she made me do one more thing. She made me sign a contract saying that if my grades fell below her extremely high standards, this whole business thing would have to come to a complete and utter stop. So I signed my life away and decided to create 3D printing girls. But none of those challenges amounted to anything compared to actually selling my product. I started off selling to my friends, but they're 12 with no allowance, so if I wanted to have some sort of profit and growth, I needed to venture out and talk to some adults. But when I did, more often than not, addressing older generations and trying to sell my 3D printed jewelry ended up getting laughs in my face. People would question, can she really build a 3D printer? Can she really make 3D printed jewelry? Questions like these angered me. When they would laugh at me, it angered me. They would question if 3D Printing Girls was really my company and maybe just my parents and I'm the face of it. I wanted to scream, but I also wanted to sell my product, so I had to act nice. I still don't exactly know what I would say to those people if I could really speak my mind, because I really just wanted to yell at them, telling them that, yes, I built a 3D printer. 12-year-old girls can build 3D printers. 3D Printing Girls is my idea. Please don't try to steal that from me. So to the people of older generations, if I could talk to them now, I would at least ask them to think back to a time when they were my age, when they had the pressure to be the future, and when they finally switched that mindset from focusing on the future to living in the present and having people stop them or prevent them from doing so. I would want them to remember that time, because that's what I felt. That's what I'm feeling now. Now, to the people who doubted me in general, and that includes myself, I want to tell you that, well, you're right. 3D Printing Girls didn't last, but not because of what you think. 3D Printing Girls was amazing. I loved every single experience of it. But like I said earlier, being a kid means that you don't know if your interests are going to last. And while I think 3D printers are amazing, I definitely have a lot of passion for other things, way more than what 3D printing ever did. So if I don't have a business, how am I living in the present today? Well, I still have a 5-year, a 10-year, and 20-year plan. But that 20-year plan that involved me being an engineer isn't around. I'm a student at ASU studying political science and, of course, business entrepreneurship. And for the next 3 years, that's who I want to be, a student. Of course, in those plans, I want to be an entrepreneur. I still am an entrepreneur. I have plenty of ideas, probably going to continue to trash that 3rd grade one. But of course, I love being an entrepreneur. Now, to the people of younger generations, I want to tell you one more thing. We are most definitely going to be making great change in the future. But that doesn't mean that we can start trying to break that glass ceiling, even if we're not tall enough to reach it.